Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to be looking at healing speeds and more specifically Adam's teachable perk, Autodidact, which is a really interesting perk that looks good on paper, but I want to see if it's actually worth the perk slot. So if you don't know, Autodidact is a perk that starts you out with a minus 25% progression penalty for a skill check when you're healing another survivor. Meaning, when you're healing someone and hit a skill check for the first time, you'll actually lose 25% of your healing progression, which sounds bad, right? But for every other skill check you hit, this penalty slowly becomes a buff of 15% per skill check all the way up to 5 stacks, which gives you a total of a plus 50% healing progression for every skill check you hit from then on for the rest of the trial, which sounds good, right? Well, that's what we're going to find out. And while we're at it, we will also see how fast we can get a heal off by combining this perk with some other healing perks similar to what we did in our exit gate opening video, which I have linked below. So the standard amount of time it takes to heal another survivor by yourself is 16 seconds. So this is going to be our starting point for this little experiment. Why all this is even important is Dead by Daylight at its core is a game about time management for both the killer and survivor. It's one of the only games outside of like a racing game where a second can actually be the difference between your entire team losing or winning, which is one of the things I find really fun and interesting about the game is it really can be a game of seconds. So let's take a quick detour to look at a few other perks before we come back to Autodidact, starting with the very controversial Circle of Healing, which had recently been nerfed, which in my opinion, this perk actually works in the killer's favor way more often than I think that they realize. Hear me out before all you killer mains just click off the video.
Get me the off this goddamn blaze!
So it takes 14 seconds to bless a dull totem, and 9 seconds now to solo heal one other person with Circle of Healing. Meaning if you don't take into account the amount of time it takes to find a dull totem before blessing it, a survivor needs to get 2 heals out of that boon to get a net gain of 2 seconds of player time. So let's just factor in 14 seconds to find a dull totem before blessing it just for the sake of easy math. That totem now needs to provide 3 heals to actually be worth spending the time on for a team of survivors. So keep that in mind, guys, next time you decide where you're gonna put your healing boon. If the killer snuffs it out before you get 3 heals off, you might have actually just been better off just solo healing without it. So what about Botany Knowledge? If you don't know, Botany Knowledge actually has 2 functions. It makes healing items 33% more efficient, but it also gives you a 33% speed boost to all healing actions, which is what we're going to be looking at today. Meaning a solo heal of one other survivor takes 12 seconds. That's only 3 seconds slower than Circle of Healing and 4 seconds faster than just healing without anything at all. Now, when this is stacked with Circle of Healing, this gets you down to an 8-second heal, which is the same speed as the insta-heal syringe, which is pretty fast, right? So combining Botany Knowledge with Circle of Healing actually makes it a lot stronger. Okay, so let's get back to Autodidact. I decided to do some playing around with it to see what kind of net time gain you actually can get out of this perk since you start off actually healing slower. How many heals do you need to get off to get value out of Autodidact, and how fast can we potentially heal when at 5 stacks? So one problem I ran into while doing this is you don't actually always get a skill check when healing someone. Almost every time I tried to get the 5 stacks, I ended up having at least 1 heal where I didn't get a skill check at all. Also, if the skill check shows up later in the heal or earlier in the heal, or like it did for me, like I said, sometimes not at all, it affects the overall benefit of that potential plus 50% bonus progression. Meaning if you get the skill check with only 10% left to heal, you only get a 10% bonus even though you have 5 stacks. So even with 5 stacks of Autodidact, you might never actually get that plus 50% progression the entire match. If you're really unlucky, you might not get any bonus at all. On top of that, it took me either 4 or 5 full heals to get up to 5 stacks each time I did it, which 5 heals by yourself in one match of Dead by Daylight is way more than you probably get on average. I think I typically heal somebody maybe 2 times, maybe a 3rd time at the exit gate. Before you say like just use Spine Chill to get skill checks more often when the killer is looking in your direction, I mean, I will agree with you that that would work, but now you've dedicated 2 perks to try and get a potential buff from Autodidact that sometimes you might never actually receive. So what about the most important part of all this? How much time can Autodidact actually save? First off, keep keep in mind that you're going to need to be doing a lot of healing to get any value, if any at all, out of this perk. But let's say you're playing against a Legion and your team keeps coming to you for heals over and over and over again, which that gets into a whole other video that is definitely coming soon. So anyway, how many heals do you need to do to get value out of Autodidact over just vanilla healing? So in this match, our first heal took about 20 seconds, 13 seconds for our second heal, 16 seconds for our third, 10 seconds for our fourth, 11 seconds for our fifth, 9 seconds for our sixth, 15 seconds for our seventh, and 8 seconds for our eighth, which was our only time getting that perfect skill check location to get that 50% bonus progression. 8 heals. It took 8 heals to get the perk to work as intended, which is freaking crazy. Why would anybody run this? Let's compare this to Botany Knowledge. How many of those heals did it take before we actually started saving time over Botany Knowledge? Well, spoiler alert, it never did. Across all 8 heals, we ended up with an average time of 12.75 seconds per heal, with Botany Knowledge being a flat 12 seconds per heal. So even if you heal your team 8 times with Autodidact, you still don't match the speed of Botany Knowledge. Okay, now that all the math is done, it's time for the fun part. Let's see how fast we can get a heal off through combining 5 stacks of Autodidact with Circle of Healing, just to see where it gets us. So it looks like it can get us to about 5 seconds a heal. Now, let's check it with Botany Knowledge and see what we can get. Okay, now 5 stacks of Autodidact with Botany Knowledge gets us to about 6 seconds. Now, just so I can put this in the thumbnail, let's combine Autodidact, Botany Knowledge, Circle of Healing, and the perk Will Make It, which gives you a 100% speed boost to healing other survivors for 90 seconds after unhooking someone. Let's put them all together and see how fast we can get a heal if we get that perfect skill check. Less than 3 seconds. I think that might actually be the fastest possible heal in the game. It's not practical, but if you get this off in a public match, it would be pretty hilarious. I mean, if I'm wrong and there's a faster way to heal somebody than this, please let me know. So I guess in the end, is Autodidact actually worth the perk slot? So I would say overall, no, but maybe in the perfect situation, it might just help you save your team, but I kind of doubt it. Like, you had to do so much prep to get to a point and then get a perfect skill check just to get value out of it. I just don't think that it's practical. I think it's fun. I think that, like, maybe in customs, messing around, maybe you could have a little fun with it, but I just don't think that in public matches it's worth it. I think that they should rework this perk somehow. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe they made it so it gave you more skill checks or more consistent skill checks, or made it so that that 50% bonus skill check always showed up in the beginning. Then it would probably be worth it, but as it sits now, it's definitely not worth the perk slot. Okay guys, so what should I look at next? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Also, I stream live on Twitch 5 days a week at twitch.tv/PeteGunShow, and I would love to see you there. If you like what you see, please leave me a like or a sub or any of that kind of stuff. I'm really trying to grow this channel out, and I would really appreciate any support. And be sure to check out my other Dead by Daylight content on this channel. I've been trying to grind away and get it going. I'm trying to hit 200 followers by the end of next month, which would be freaking amazing. So with all that said, stay happy, healthy, sexy, and safe, and I will see you next time.